Well, it's Friday. It is Friday, and I'm in Colorado. We're all home and everything else like this. Everybody's kind of been relaxing on their sort of, they've been down off their guard in terms of infectious diseases and mask wearing. And I have to admit myself too, I've slipped back into old bad habits, running around. But despite that, I hadn't gotten sick in quite some time. But I think Sebastian dragged something home. So I have what I think is the first head cold I've had in, well, since COVID started, since masking started, 2.5 years. It's not really bad. Maybe it's just allergies. Who the heck knows? But in any case, I don't feel that hot. And so I'm filming this now so that if I start to if things start going sideways, then at least I have something filmed. One thing I do, there was one, I'm going to answer questions, and at least I hope I am. I guess we'll see. But right now, I did just want to get this filmed. So if there's nothing after this point, things went sideways. And if there's more Friday video after this, then I guess I'm feeling okay. I'm like a little like, the flight home was just like, oh God, I hate airports. I hate them so much. And the Orlando airport, it's like you have to curve and curve and curve, and it's like split, 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 and like it was freaking nightmare. It is a miracle that we made our flight. I just think that kind of traveling brings the worst out of many people. I didn't mind it really. Generally, it was okay. The best thing about the flight is that I got to see Ghostbusters Afterlife. And so I guess I could rip into it a little bit because then I'll have something to talk about and the video will be longer. But Ghostbusters Afterlife. So here's my informal, completely extemporaneous, ill-considered, and probably factually incorrect review of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Let me start by saying that overall I enjoyed the movie. Okay, I'm gonna go that way. You know me, I'm kind of picky and weird about details and strange about things that other people wouldn't notice. I liked the movie. The movie had a good heart. It was a good basic story. It was a good understandable story. It was well written. Ghostbusters is one of those franchises like Back to the Future where the creator had their hand in every single piece of the real thing. It wasn't like Alien or Aliens or anything else like that with all these different people weighing in. It's a one creator verse. So that you could really tell that the care was there and the the real love for the subject was there. It was like, and I say this in the best possible way, it was like if you took the first Ghostbusters movie and you like crossbred it with Goonies. So it's like, it's a true Ghostbusters movie, but it's very, very much more for kids, much more kid friendly, nowhere near the number of adult jokes hidden here and there. Like there was all kinds of cool sly stuff in Ghostbusters. It was not in this that I remember. The characters are pretty cookie cutter. Everybody does a fine job though. The actress whose name I've forgotten, who plays the mother, she's pretty funny, and I like how she does her stuff. She seemed familiar to me, but she's actually kind of a newcomer. She's more of a stage actor than anything else. Man, she does well. The young lady who plays the lead is her character is supposed to be humorless and sort of earnest and kind of nerdy, and she plays that just like on rails. And it feels honestly kind of artificial, but you know what? She's 11 or no, she's 15. Playing even younger girl, but like they made a point of non-sexualizing her at all. Like she's always wearing like sort of bulky sort of clothing, and well, she dresses like girls used to back in the 80s. They weren't dressing like hoochies, they just were wearing clothing. But anyway, and so she felt a little stilted, and the character lacked depth. I think unless you were going to find some way to make this be some kind of reaction to trauma. But and there was some other stuff too. I mean, the character tropes. There was like the wacky little kid with all the different technical stuff, and sort of the leader boy, and then the leader boy has the sort of the strong girlfriend, and then you have Ant-Man is the love interest, and they just sort of make him this toothless thing. I mean, he plays it perfectly fine. He plays himself. He's Paul Rudd. And so he does fine. The sort of the chemistry between, they don't have a Rick Moranis kind of character, the one that's like pure comic relief. Not really. And I don't know who you would find that would be able to do that as deftly as Rick Moranis did. I don't know, that it's an interesting piece. Some people, talking about the casting, some people have complained about the diversity of the small town. There isn't just white people. There's white people and black people and Asian people, and there's people, but it's a small town, and people have been bitching about that, saying, "Well, it's not. That's not realistic in a movie with ghosts." But the actual lore. The lore behind the creation of that town was that the person who founded the town, the same person who built the 555 building in Manhattan in Ghostbusters, he combed the world while creating basically this gateway for this Sumerian god thing, and he pulled people from all around the world, and then he built the city, the town, and then the whole thing went belly up. And those people were all just left there. So it is utterly, perfectly consistent for lore and has nothing to do with current politics whatsoever. I think the most distressing... Well, no, I'm not going to say distressing. I think that one of the elements that kind of really kept taking me out of it is how incredibly hardcore and blatant the product placement was. Like, it was like almost Austin Powers level, like, Walmart, and then the brands within Walmart, and the labels clearly displayed, and like, at a certain point, big old bags of dog food have a prominent piece in that role, and they're very clearly, they're all from the same brand. They're stacked so you can see the labels. Finding an old candy wrapper in an old Ghostbusters uniform, Crunch Bar clearly showing the label, holding it carefully. And that happened a lot. So you're going to have to kind of, put that out of your mind or make it into a drinking game or something. But the core of the movie is good. The story's perfectly fine. I mean, I don't want to spoil or anything. I guess, how about this? I'm going to have a brief overflow of the plot. And while I'm talking about the plot, I will have the USS Enterprise in the way. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, wait, turn the sound off, or skip forward until you don't see the Enterprise anymore. Bum, 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 bum. It's such a great looking ship. Look at that thing. Anyway, okay. Basically, the crazy guy who built that receiving unit building in Manhattan, the one who decided that society was too sick to survive, he pulled all the selenium and stuff to make that building out of this little town. He built the whole town from start to finish, Shandor. And so there's all this stuff underneath that has to deal with, Shandor and all this kind of stuff. After the basically, this movie almost feels like it ignores Ghostbusters 2 entirely. It doesn't refer to it in any way. One could legitimately watch Ghostbusters 1 and then go right to Ghostbusters Afterlife, and you wouldn't miss anything. Making the movie was kind of going to be hampered because one of the main guys is dead. And Harold Ramis, he's gone. He played Egon Spengler. And the young lady who is the lead, she is his granddaughter. And they get evicted from wherever the hell it is they live, and he leaves them this farmhouse at that exact same time, so they have to go out there. It is, and then she has to sort of rediscover her legacy and get to know her grandfather and all this kind of stuff. It's pretty kid-like, but it's cool. Okay, I'm done talking mostly about plot pieces. the sweetest thing about it, there was so much fan service. There was a lot of fan service. So if you don't like fan service, this is another movie not for you. But as I said, one of the big things is that Harold Ramis is dead. He died a good number of years ago. And in real life, Harold Ramis and Bill Murray just hated each other after the movie because of Bill Murray was in a movie adaptation of The Razor's Edge, and it was that and Groundhog Day, I think, kind of made them not like, they didn't get along at all, and they didn't speak for many, many years. But they did. Bill Murray went and he said he went and made up with Harold Ramis. Everybody, they all cooled down and everything was fine. And in this movie, honestly, the sweetest thing, and for me, the most sort of lovely thing, is Harold Ramis, despite having been dead for 8 years now, he was a big, big, big presence. He was all the way through the movie. In fact, the movie was very much a love letter to him, to Harold Ramis. But through the entire course of the movie, in the prologue and in, the regular rest of the movie, you're dealing with, he's there, even if you can't see him or hear him or whatever the heck it is, or, when he's silent. There's no dialogue to get stuck between you and your sort of feeling that you get from watching the character being displayed. You have to judge just by his movements and his facial expressions. And it makes it actually really sweet. It makes it so like he's present, but he's not present. Like this sort of 1 foot in and 1 foot out thing. Half in our world, half out. And that was, and that really was sweet. And the reason that it worked is you could tell that it was absolutely genuine, completely and absolutely genuine. It was done with nothing but love and respect, which was nice. Some of it, the movie, it's kind of shallow. A lot of the other stuff, and things just kind of feel sort of thrown in sometimes. But by visually, technologically, effects, they were bananas for getting it right. They were bananas for getting it right. And that's one of the things that is a benefit of having the one single creator who's in charge of the whole thing, because they can give a continuity and a feel of a world far better than anyone else trying to imitate them. And that's why Back to the Future was the way that it was. And same with this. I think it's a worthy entry. I'm glad that I saw it. It's definitely got some stuff in it. The jokes are pretty predictable, but some of the stuff actually is funny. At a certain point, one of the characters is confronting some giant supernatural creature and is trying to stall for time. Spoiler alert. And so this is the main character, the lead girl, and so she's trying to stall for time, looking at Gozer, and so she starts telling just terrible, terrible jokes. And which I thought was charming, actually. I thought that was pretty cute. I don't know. It's a good movie. I wish it wasn't so heavy-handed with some of the stuff, but it's an absolutely worthy successor, especially if you've got young kids around who've never seen the first Ghostbusters. I don't know if that's possible, but one could legitimately have a nice Saturday afternoon, watch Ghostbusters 1 and jump right to Ghostbusters 2. Or maybe you could get them into it with Ghostbusters Afterlife and use that to loop them back into regular Ghostbusters, like using The Hobbit to get people into Lord of the Rings. It's a good movie. I'm glad that I saw it. I'm very glad it was on the airplane because I got to watch it the whole time we were flying, which kept my thoughts upon that instead of anything else, and that was okay. So far, my voice is holding up, so maybe this will work. So I guess I'll go and I'll look at video questions, and we'll see what can be done. But again, if something changes, things really, really, really don't hang together, then this will be fine for a standalone Friday video. So I guess we're both going to find out what happens. Let's find out. Well, folks, I have to tell you, it has been a long day for many other reasons. But I didn't want to just leave that video as it was for a couple reasons. One, I didn't want to. Two, someone actually asked a question that I don't believe anyone has ever asked of me before. The person is Miko TV, Miko TV. I'm assuming it's Miko, it's not Miko. If I'm wrong, just let me know. In any case, he wanted to know. Wait, I don't want that one. He asked to know more about Speidel Twisto Flex bracelets. Now, so this is only a small number, small percentage of these that I have. I have an unridiculous amount of these. Also, I see that I have mixed in also some mesh strips. Oh, that's pretty, isn't it? Oh, that's awfully nice. Oh yeah, that's just the one with that smashed curved end link. Anyway, so after World War I, the huge booming popularity of wristwatches was a big thing. And so people were very curious about having all kinds of different ways to have their watches on their wrists. Being that, you know, leather straps weren't necessarily cutting it. And I don't know who invented it. I should, and I could go look it up, but frankly, I don't want to. It's really late. I want to get this done. This one's old. It's got a narrower width, and this is an unusual. What's the name on it there? Flex Fit. Now, what's the patent on this? And get some more light on the situation. Here's the patent date on this. Okay, great. Stainless steel. Flex Fit 52. I could buy it from the 50s. If you look at yearbooks from back then, a lot of the dudes were wearing these. Flex Fit. I wonder if this one's adjustable in any way. Because some of these, that's one of the big pain in the butts about these. Oh, okay, so, sorry, I got distracted. So then after World War II, so these were invented in the interwar period, and then after World War II ended, you had untold millions of service personnel coming back from the war, and they all got very used to wearing wristwatches. It was a real big thing, and for some reason, they decided they wanted to move into the future, and they decided they wanted to eschew. They didn't use, I don't know. These were easy and simple. So for those of you who don't know, these are a kind of stretchy watch band, and it's stretchy. They're made of metal. They're often referred to as OMB, which is old man band. When I was a teenager, when I was a kid, every old guy, was either, most of them were World War II vets, and a great number of them, you know, were these stretchy things. You get it, you go down to the, you know, the drugstore or the jewelry store, the watch shop or something like that, and you want a new strap, and you do it. This one's got a neat little diddly. It's actually got all 12, it's got all iterations of every month in here. Like, I can open this up and flip it around. This one's in nice condition. But in any case, there were a lot of companies that made these, the most famous of which is, well, in my mind anyway, is Speidel. Speidel still exists today. You can still buy their stuff. Ooh, this is Bulova. I wonder who made that. Bulova. It's gold-plated. That's something. Yes, but effectively then, the most known one was, is this one a Speidel? I keep talking about Speidels, and it keeps not happening. What's that say? Breton? Yeah, like Breton? I wonder, no, that's B-R-E-T-O-N. That's a nice one, actually. The big problem with these that I find is that, what good things is that if you have them sized perfectly, it's great because it gives you a little bit of stretch through the day. not so hot is they will grip, if they don't grip your wrist, snugly enough, if they get even a little loose, they start flopping around. And these were made to be these one-piece deals, which means there's no way to quick adjust them that I'm aware of. Generally, there is one I have in here that was designed to quick adjust, but I think it fell apart. That's mesh. That's mesh. I have so many of these stretchy straps. Is this one a Speidel? No. 100% stainless steel. Patent pending. 100% stainless steel, made in Hong Kong. That's not a Speidel. It's nice though. It's tight. So these old dudes, these World War II guys, they were teachers and professors and regular folks. They were grandparents, were all those pre-World War II and World War II people. And they would just, they had beautiful, big old floating boat Cadillacs and, stretchy tan trousers and, edged lawns. But I swear they would never clean their darn watches. And these things, one of the other drawbacks about these is they are just, they're a near perfect mechanism for pulling off hairs and gathering, skin flakes and all the other kind of crudge. So when I get these in, when it's time for me to, I get some interesting ones. If I get enough that I want to clean them, I take them and I have to do it out in the garage, and I use a sealed container and I just leave them in there, and there's just so much stuff that can come out of these. Finally, a Speidel. There it is, Speidel. You can resize these. There's no easy way to do it though. It's a pain in the ass. This is just you basically have to figure out how many pieces you want to take out, and then you have to bend up both of these sides, and then there's like little staple things that are sitting in there, and you have to pull them out, and the whole thing is based on spring pressure from just these little pieces of metal being twisted like this. So they're kind of a pain in the ass to resize. Oh, that's another mesh one. Ooh, Longines. Look at that. Wonder what that one too. Duchess USA. Hey, Duchess. They made bracelets for Rolex too. Duchess USA. Wonder what this one too. Now some of these, they made them in a ton of different patterns. The vast majority of them really look like things like this. These sort of, faux finishes. There's Speidel USA. This one's older. It's probably from the 40s, the 50s, probably 50s. But see, look, yeah, it's got that pre-50s, because the regular Speidel is that 50s, like cursive, and this is block, so that's older. Pretty enough. You see these sometimes. This was a sort of an adaptation of that stretchy thing. With sort of fancy ends on it. What does that say? Herker? Herkers. But anyway, this one's cool. It's stainless steel, but it's got these little thingies in here, and you can actually open this up. Look, it's hinged. You can open it up, and you can put in whatever material you want in there. Snakeskin, anything. So that makes it kind of cool, actually. You can sort of match it to the watch. I don't think I've ever seen very many of these, not that I've been looking. This one is sort of a diamondy pattern. This is, again, one of these older ones with this sort of combo, the mesh thing. Who made this one? Japan? BMC. Stainless spring, stainless steel. This one's really comfortable. I've never found anything that looks even remotely right on. This was actually my dad's. This was my dad's. I know because I resized it for him. And that was the closest link I could find. And this was my dad's. He had it. He wore this actually on my grandfather's retirement watch, which is a gold Girard-Perregaux, like gold Girard-Perregaux. I don't have any on this, I mean, who cares? But I'm like, you know, I'm the only person that knows that. But I'm like, does it matter? Would anybody care? I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. This one's cool. You get these too. This is sort of a variation on, what do they call these? Opalongo band or something like that. This one I got on a junk watch lot. Hong Kong stainless steel. These freaking things, they're solid sterling silver. I have no idea what in the world one would ever be able to wear this on, but there you go. It's another one, sort of that jewel finish. This is what? This is more of a, yeah, this one's more of a 40s, 50s. Yeah, it's got that block script. I don't know. What's that? Unmarked. It's another generic band. I've seen that link. Where have I seen that before? Besides right in front of me. If anybody knows about that, let me know. I like this one. I liked this one a lot, actually. Except, I just noticed that, oh yes, here they are. One of the ends came off. This one I had been wearing on my Omega Speedmaster. But again, this is the other thing, is they go old enough, then you start to lose pieces. There you can see inside how that works. Sorry for my dirty fingers, I've been running around in the garage. You can see it's got these staple diddlies here. Those are the joints. See, do you see those little staples as they twist? In between each one, that provides the spring power. Right there. Isn't that neat? Anyway, I like this one. Who made this one? Stainless steel, Hong Kong. I've always liked it. Now, here's one that's cool. Actually, two that's cool. This is another 40s, 50s one, I think. JB Champion, baby. Yep, JB Champion USA. Again, I'd say probably 50s. This one's neat. I think this one's actually worth something. It's a real Forstner. It's an old one. It's not like the Moonwatch one, but it's cool. It's a real Forstner. It's this weird like spring mesh thing. It's kind of weird because it twists by itself. But what's cool about this is that this is like a quick release thing, but it never actually lets go all the way. Even if you go and, ouch, damn it, I went right under my thumbnail. Even if you go and release this like that, it still holds. And then it's pretty easy to adjust in size. This one looks like it's like a 16 millimeters, and that just snaps in just like this. Yeah, you can see it's like a sheet of spring material that gets folded over, and so the whole thing wants to twist. Yeah, if anybody knows about this thing, Forstner, please do let me know. Cool. Anyway, that's it. They're adjustable bands. You can still buy them today. They're a pain in the butt to adjust, unless I'm sure you have the knowing of it. And they kind of look, to my eyes, they look kind of generic and cheap, but that's because I grew up with them. For younger generations and, people, this is kind of like, gives you some sort of, maybe some cred wearing the, the ultimate drip, the old man band. I just realized I never did wrist check. There it is. That is Leisure 7500. I have owned this watch for a long time. These are called the poor man's Heuer for a real good reason, in that they were made by Heuer for this Leisure company, which really wasn't a company. It was like one guy who was a distributor, and he sold out of camera catalogs and stuff. The old mail order ones that were clearly photocopied. But it's a beautiful watch, and they were literally made by Heuer. It's my understanding this was basically a rebadged Heuer Pasadena. I love this watch. You see the PVD ones a lot, and I think one of those was worn in Top Gun or something. But this one is the Bead Blasted, and that's the original bracelet too. I got this on Reddit's watch exchange a long time ago, and I was wearing this watch when my father passed. Anyway, it's a lovely watch. I love it. I really do. It's just such a great design.
And that's it. So the poor man's Hoyer.